This story is called The Father, the Sodomite, and the Horny Spirit by Turner Jamestown III. Father O'Shaughnessy, the 65-year-old Catholic priest, has a shameful secret. A secret that has never been shared before. He'd never admit it, but this one secret is what made him join the Catholic Church to begin with, thus shaping his entire life from there on. See, the father wasn't always a priest, and like other humans before him, fell victim to the whims of carnal desires. He still, to this day, longs for the touch of companionship that he turned away long ago. Not to the creepy extent, of course, like fucking little kids that the Catholic priests have been stereotyped with these days. In fact, it's assholes like that, those who call themselves Catholic, let alone priests, they are the reason for Father O'Shaughnessy's sudden and abrupt wavering of faith, leaving him with nothing but his secret to hold him back. The father, having no one else to turn to, approached one of his nuns. He felt very comfortable confiding in her, saying things he thought he'd never say to anyone out loud. This nun, Sister Magdalene, may have been younger than the father by a couple of years, but she had definitely put some mileage on those old bones. Now, she looks like any other hard-ass old nun, but there was just something in the way she walked that let you know that she's seen the underbelly of society, and she didn't flinch at all. Plus, I mean, this is just speculation. It's just a rumor that I heard once, but I heard from someone that this nun, this holy sister of the church, well, I heard she fucked a pig. Now, I don't know for certain, and I'm not going to be the one to ask her, and you can be damn certain that the father's not going to ask her either. But throughout the course of their conversation, the father starts to notice some of the phrasing in her more risque anecdotes. She says things like, stuff like, I like to have full control, and there's nothing like the feeling of them wiggling and squealing at your mercy, which of course made Father O'Shaughnessy very uncomfortable. More to the point, however, the father finally confessed his troubles to the sister. Luckily, she was actually pretty cool about it. That is, after she screamed it out in shock for anybody in ear distance to hear. Premature ejaculation! Could you keep it down? The father panicked, trying to hush her. Father O'Shaughnessy explains everything about his dilemma. That he's lost faith in the church and wants to break the rules just once to see how the other side lives. It's just that in his youth, he could never hold his ejaculate for even a second. Just the breeze against his bare skin was enough to make him nut, as the nun put it. She assures him that the fact that he can even get it up at his age would be impressive enough. Father's face starts to drain of all his blood, causing him to go pale. He feels so insulted. Then she finally offers up one nugget of wisdom that the priest can hold on to, something that swayed the opinions he had over the nun more towards the positive side, no matter what they may have said on the farm. Once the father confessed his failed attempts with pornography, the nun said, "Nobody's gonna know how to help you better than a porn star." This thought had never crossed the priest's mind. She continued, "People in the sex industry probably get this question all the time." Luckily, while the father was busy dismissing this idea as quickly as it came, Sister Magdalene pulls out an extra pass to PornCon 2020. It's luckily that this came up now because there's a convention coming up where you can ask all the questions you want. The priest, still reeling in the new information he has about this supposedly holy sister, decides to just accept her generosity, thank her, and promptly leave before he learns any more sinful details of this terrifying nun's past. What am I doing here? The father's mind kept chanting this on repeat. Thrown in intermittently was, "I don't belong here." This place was stock full of sinners, from adulterers to sodomites. Not a single sin went unrepresented. Walking around, he counted 1 God, 2 Jesuses, and 4 priests, each with their wardrobe cut in a precise way so that no secrets could be kept. Father O'Shaughnessy, of course, was no longer wearing his costume. He was trying to be covert. Sunglasses, hat, baggy unmarked clothes, the whole 9 yards. Which, of course, in this setting, probably made him stand out even more. That is, at least to the security, who seemed to be eyeing him up and down to make sure that he wasn't wanking it in his pocket. "Father!" The priest pays no mind to this. He's already heard people shouting out "Daddy" more than he deemed necessary. "Father O'Shaughnessy!" Panic. Fight or flight. Who's he kidding? He can't fight. As a matter of fact, he can't really flee either. Bad hip and all that. He looks over to a booth that he was actively avoiding eye contact with, due to the hundreds of crudely drawn phallus images plastered all over it. He looks over to see a woman that is slowly creeping towards him curiously. "Oh my God, it is you!" She begins jogging over to him. The priest recognizes her, but can't place it, mainly due to the fact that he can't pry his eyes from the foot-long, shiny black cock she has strapped on. It's just flopping away, erect as a skyscraper. He finally breaks his staring contest with her nethers to lock onto her eyes. Then it all comes flooding back. "It's me, remember?" She lifts her black dominatrix wig to reveal red hair. This woman has been a member of his congregation since she was a little girl in Sunday school. Of course now, for some reason, her penis keeps wiggling. This disturbs the father. "Little Mag," the father sputtered. No, not here," she interrupted. "Here I go by the name Moby Dick." She says it with pride and confidence while flaunting her girth. "What are you doing here?" the priest says, once again staring at the strap-on for too long. "What am I doing here? What are you doing here?" she asks. "Well, I'm starting to regret it now." "Oh, don't be silly." She pulls him by the arm, drags him all the way back to her booth, where Moby Dick then introduces the father to her whole team. It turns out she's one of the top-paid actresses in her field. "And what field is that exactly?" "Strictly pegging." "What's pegging?" Instant regret. The father should have just smiled and nodded. After a 10-minute-long vivid description on the act and business of pegging, Moby Dick gets interrupted by a fan screaming, "Yeah, you go, girl! Down with the patriarchy!" Moby Dick gives a little wave, and the lady-man hybrid walks away proudly. "You know, it's surprisingly not really about that. Most of the time, I'm like, yeah, sure, there's dominance and stuff, but..." She gets interrupted by the priest, who has chosen this moment to try and make his escape. "Listen, it's been nice catching up and all, but I don't think you can help me with my problem, so I'm just gonna go." "Problem? What problem?" "Well, I've come here seeking a remedy for premature ejaculation," admits the priest, embarrassed. "Oh, shit. Why didn't you just say so?" Moby Dick shoots out of her chair, almost swatting the priest in the face with her appendage. She drags him by the arm as she hollers to her team that she's going to walk the floor. They storm the floor together, dragged from booth to booth, Moby Dick shows the priest all of the best spots. Hey, Moby? It's Moby Dick, actually, she says, brimming with pride once again. Oh, I don't think I can call you that. Oh, that's fine, don't worry about it. You can just call me Dick for short. She slaps her oversized dildo, sending it into a wiggling fit. What are these? The priest asks, holding up a set of Tower of Terror nipple clamps, ignoring the name debacle altogether. Yeah, those probably aren't going to help you any. She confiscates them and puts them back on the shelf. They spend hours exploring the convention together. They find desensitizing gels, stamina training sex toys, even a penile workout regimen, and a little dumbbell for your cock. She introduces the priest to all the best people to talk to about his problem. It seems the general consensus is having a problem coming too quickly, then just be able to come more than once. Which of course sounds good in theory, but the priest still worries. At his age, he doesn't think he'll ever be able to perform under those circumstances. He's got the tools now, but he worries that it's too late for him. They spend the next little while just walking around, not even looking at any of the booths. They're just chatting, interrupted here and there by fans of Moby Dick's, who take their pictures and get their autographs signed. The priest thinks to himself that she's actually a very interesting person. She's using the money she makes from her videos to pay her way through business school. Anything extra she makes, she donates to battered women's shelters and those in need. I don't get it, the father says. Why do you still come to church every Sunday? How do you keep the faith through all of this? I can't believe you don't feel it yet, Father. Can't you see that God is all over this room? The priest is shocked by this statement. I don't know about you, she continues, but the God I worship is all love. And can't you feel that, baby? There's love all over this place. Of course, no place is void of sin, but guess what? That goes for the church as well. Things fall silent as they walk. The priest ponders the wisdom laid before him. All he can say in response is, You're pretty amazing. Do you know that, Dick? It's okay, Father. I know it makes you uncomfortable. You can just call me... Father O'Shaughnessy hushes her. I wouldn't dream of it. This is who you've chosen to be, and I respect that. Really? She asks, showing the first sign of timidness. Yes, I'm very proud of you, Moby Dick. She's taken aback and freezes for a moment to let it all sink in. The priest cringes at the moment of silence, afraid that he just made things really awkward. He remembers that he still has to see this woman again in church on Sunday. The priest's heart starts racing as she looks him in the eye. They stare too long at each other. Finally, she breaks the silence with a stern command. Come with me. She drags him by the arm yet again, her massive penis leading the way. This might help you more than anything else. Moby Dick leads the priest all the way back to her booth. Then, without a word to her team, drags him through a curtain, into a back room that he must have missed the first time. The room was lit to look as if there were flames on the wall. Other than that, it was a very dark room. Just one solitary bare light bulb swinging over a steel adjustable table. There are clearly other contraptions in the room, but he can't make them out in the darkness, so he focuses on the table. What is this? Asks the priest. Strip, Moby Dick commands. What? The priest tenses up. Do you trust me? She asks gently. I think so, he says, unsure now that he feels her strap-on pressed up against him. Things start to get intimate. She gently takes off his sunglasses and hat, then brushes her fingers through his hair. We shouldn't be doing this, the priest says while unbuttoning his shirt. I'm at least twice your age. Don't worry, I'm going to take good care of you, Father, she whispers in his ear. Once the priest's shirt is off, she forcefully pulls off his belt. He drops his pants and underwear, leaving him stark naked and erect as the morning sun. Now, get on the table, face down. She's starting to get scary. What is this, some sort of massage room? The priest asks, oblivious to what's going on. He gets up on the table. The cold steel against his flesh is almost enough to make him blow his load right there. Suddenly, a hot stinging lash comes across his back. The priest looks back at Moby Dick, who is now wielding a leather whip. Ouch, what the? He's interrupted by a hand shoving his face back down on the table. No more questions, she shouts. The priest looks back once more to see her tighten the straps around her hips, securing the massive dildo. Panic. Oh, no, 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 oh, no, 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 no. The priest squirms around naked on the cold steel, his erection decreasing with every second. Snap! Another fiery hot lashing across his back. Oh, fuck! Cursed the priest. Get that ass in the air, bitch! Now listen, Dick, Moby, whatever. I don't want... Once again, the burning sting of the whip, this time snapping 3 times across his back. Even though he was terrified, his dick was now standing at attention. Father O'Shaughnessy gets up to his hands and knees, trying to leave. The whip cracks even harder this time. Father O'Shaughnessy recoils in pain, his butt still up in the air, unprotected. Moby Dick, happier than we've ever seen her before, spits into her hand. Panic! Panic! Across the convention hall, there's an area where they are giving out ribbons. Standing on top of a 3-tiered pedestal, standing in first place, is Sister Magdalene, alongside a very large pig with a very shocked expression. After the judge is done placing the big blue first place ribbon on the pig, the nun's ears perk up as she hears a long, scared squeal from across the convention hall. The Holy Sister couldn't be happier. There was still church on Sunday. The end. Wasn't that nice, children? I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And I hope you tune in next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe.